I've never felt unsafe in New York City. The only time I feel unsafe is when I'm in areas like this. There's no one.
It's not the absence of bad people that makes the city safe, rather it's the presence of regular people. In that video, she's experiencing a liminal space, and I'm going to get to what that is in a minute and how we can prevent them. But first, I want to talk about the Jane Jacobs concept, eyes on the street. The concept is basically this. Police punish crime more than they prevent it. And actually, if they're lucky, they might stop a crime that's already in action, but it's regular people being present that's most likely to prevent crime. Like, I'd prefer to be on a train car with a crazy person, so long as it's filled with other regular people, than just being alone on a train car with a somewhat suspicious person. And it's not just because their presence decreases the likelihood that that crazy person will act. The security I feel that one of them will step in should they act. So what is this thing I'm calling a liminal space, and how do we prevent them in a city? So the word liminal has its origins in the word threshold. It is often meant to signify transition. You can use it in a time sense. The summer between high school and college might be a liminal spot in time. But you can also use it spatially, describing areas of transition that often feel eerie. If you fly into an airport as the last flight of the night and it's empty and everything's closed, it feels liminal. If you're at a dead or dying mall or there after hours, it feels liminal. Big empty parking lots feel liminal. Cities can make spaces less desirable to inhabit through their policies, which concurrently makes them less habited and therefore less safe. So I'm going to show you some areas of Chicago that seem liminal and contrast them with places that aren't. But first, when you were experiencing one of those places that's eerily empty, ask yourself, what reasons do people have to be there? The absence of a liminal space would be something that Jane Jacobs calls the sidewalk ballet. Essentially, you want lots of little reasons for lots of different types of people to inhabit a space throughout the day. Park at night becomes liminal in part because there's nothing to do there at night. A block in the city that only has one building with one purpose is liminal because there's no reason for people, even if they're inhabiting a bar right here, to spend time on this side of the street. This building lacks what city planners would call entrance frequency. Let's juxtapose it with this side of the street where there's bars, cafes, small banks, boutiques. And here's the thing, this doesn't mean we can't have big buildings, we just have to build them right. Let's contrast 150 North Riverside Plaza with 205 West Wacker. Completed in 2017, completed in 1929. Despite being a big building, which might be more of a monoculture of offices or apartments above it, it has lots of little entrances and buildings along the bottom. And let's contrast that with 150 North Riverside, which really just has one big entrance, the entrance to the building. In fact, most of the mid-century modern, textual, contemporary, Isian modern buildings all get this wrong. That block will be busy 2 times a day, when people are getting to work and when people are leaving work, and maybe a little bit on their lunch. This is what is meant by entrance frequency. Another thing that creates liminality is the presence of cars. Streets need to be built overly wide for the certain rush hour, but during off hours, like in the morning, it creates a really liminal space. Places we aren't meant to inhabit, just to transition through as we cross. But also the presence of cars here, which make it feel unsafe during the day, makes it less likely that people are going to frequent shops on the other side of the street. Again, if you're going to keep a place busy, you need people to want to stay there. Loitering is a good thing. Loud traffic, the smell of exhaust, the sense of being unsafe, that keeps people from spending time in an area. But also, cars require an inordinate amount of storage once they arrive at a destination. Meaning, whole city blocks have to be devoted to parking, killing entrance frequency. That's why the best areas and the best cities don't look like this, but rather like this. Quaint, pedestrianized areas where it feels safe or delightful to inhabit and spend time, with multiple different reasons for a diverse array of people to show up at different times a day, except at 5 a.m. on a Friday. But John, cities are just giving people what they want: ample parking for their cars, wide roads to drive. Policies are delivering what they're designed to do despite what people want. In most cities, parking mandates require businesses to create parking spaces regardless of whether or not they want them, instead of giving them the freedom to do something like this and create additional seating. Outdated traffic manuals that only measure roads based on their amount of throughput rather than safe and desirable outcomes for roads and streets. Roads that require large medians or shoulders with recovery zones. Neighborhoods with setback requirements. Minimum lot sizes. These all create liminal spaces. Destroy regular, spontaneous human interaction that naturally occurs at the heart of traditionally developed cities.